Sinbad the Sailor. Just hearing that name, right, you immediately think of high seas adventure, incredible mythical beasts, and of course, treasure beyond your wildest dreams. But behind that legend was a real man from Baghdad, a guy whose riches were so insane, so vast, that they were a total mystery to everyone around him. So let's dive into this and see exactly how he earned that legendary fortune. So how do we even know his story? Well, it's all because of this other guy, a humble porter who also happened to be named Sinbad. One day, he's reciting a poem outside the sailor's ridiculously lavish home, and the rich Sinbad hears him. He invites him in, and over the next 7 days, he sits him down and tells him everything, the 7 voyages that made him a legend, and finally explained where all that unbelievable wealth came from. All right, so the first of these incredible tales kicks off like so many great adventures do, with our hero getting stranded. His merchant ship just takes off without him, leaving him on what he thinks is a deserted island. He's completely, utterly alone. But oh man, this island is holding a secret of absolutely monumental proportions. As Sinbad's wandering around this beautiful prison, he spots something. Way off in the distance, something huge and round and just brilliantly white against all the green. Naturally, he's curious, so he starts walking toward it, with absolutely no idea that he is about to see the most astonishing thing of his entire life. When he finally gets to it, he's just stunned. This isn't a building, it's not a hill, it's this perfect, seamless dome just glowing in the sun. He actually walks all the way around it, 50 paces, but there are no doors, no windows, no clue what it could possibly be. I mean, what could even create something like this? So Sinbad's standing there completely baffled by the stone, and then, just like that, a shadow falls over the entire island. And this isn't just a passing cloud. We're talking about a sudden, totally unnatural darkness that just blots out the sun, like nighttime decided to show up hours early. And that's when it hits him. The terrifying realization. The shadow, it wasn't a cloud at all. It was a bird. A bird so impossibly massive that its body was literally blocking the sun. And as it swoops down to land, Sinbad finally understands. That giant white dome, it wasn't a structure. It was an egg. And its mother was home. This was the legendary roc, a creature from myth. A bird so gigantic, people said it could hunt elephants. I mean, you can't even wrap your head around that kind of scale. This isn't just a big bird, it's a living, breathing monster that makes everything else on the island look tiny. And Sinbad is standing right next to its nest. But here's what makes Sinbad, well, Sinbad. Faced with a creature that could crush him without even noticing, he doesn't run, he doesn't hide. No, he sees an opportunity. As this colossal bird settles over its egg to go to sleep, Sinbad unwraps his turban and ties himself to the creature's massive leg, hoping against hope he can hitch a ride off this island. And you know what? The crazy plan worked. Kinda. The roc takes off at dawn, carrying him high up into the sky. But when it finally lands, he's not in some bustling city port. Oh no, he's been dropped into a deep, inescapable valley, a place that makes the island he just left look like a vacation resort. The second he unties himself, he's hit with this incredible sight. The entire valley floor is just glittering with diamonds, a fortune beyond belief. But coiled up among all those jewels are gigantic serpents, every single one big enough to swallow a man whole, all just sleeping in the sun. He's literally trapped in a treasure chest guarded by nightmares. He looks up, and way up on the cliffs, he can see people. They're merchants, and they've got this wild, kind of gruesome system worked out. They hurl these huge chunks of slaughtered animals down into the valley. The diamonds stick to the bloody meat, and then these enormous vultures swoop down, grab the carcasses, and fly them back up to the merchants. And just like that, another incredible, audacious plan is born. Sinbad doesn't just see a way out, he sees a way to get rich. He starts stuffing his pockets with the biggest diamonds he can carry, finds a fresh carcass that the merchants just threw down, and ties himself to it. His entire fate now depends on a giant vulture picking him up without waking up any of those giant snakes. No pressure. So, after surviving the valley and making a fortune, Sinbad's journeys keep going. And on another voyage, after yet another shipwreck, he runs into one of his most famous and maybe most psychologically terrifying enemies, the Old Man of the Sea. While he's exploring this new island, he sees an old man sitting by a stream. He looks completely harmless, gentle, maybe a little frail. The man can't speak, but he gestures to Sinbad, asking for a ride across the stream. Sinbad, thinking he's just doing a simple act of kindness, agrees and hoists the old man up onto his shoulders. This was a catastrophic mistake. As soon as they get to the other side of the stream, the old man refuses to get down. His legs, which are surprisingly powerful, lock around Sinbad's neck like they're made of iron. That seemingly harmless old man was actually a parasite, and Sinbad had just become his personal slave. His life becomes a living hell. The old man never lets go, not when he's walking, not when he's eating, not even when Sinbad tries to sleep. He would kick and beat Sinbad with his hardened feet to steer him around, forcing him to pick fruit and serve his every whim. This wasn't just being held captive, it was a constant, draining torment that seemed like it would never, ever end. So here we are again. Sinbad's trapped in a situation that seems completely impossible. He has to fall back on his greatest weapon, his mind. Physical strength was totally useless against the old man's unbreakable grip, so he needed a much, much smarter solution. And this solution took serious patience. He found some gourds, hollowed them out, and filled them with grape juice. Then he just let them sit in the sun for days, fermenting, until he'd basically made a really potent wine. He started drinking it himself, to lift his own spirits, and his captor, seeing this, got curious and demanded to try some. Sinbad hands over a gourd, and the old man just drinks it down greedily, having never tasted wine before. Of course, he gets drunk fast. He starts singing and swaying, and then Sinbad feels it. For the first time in what felt like forever, that iron grip around his neck starts to loosen. As the old man drinks more, he gets so wasted that he finally just passes out and tumbles right off his shoulders and onto the ground. That was his moment. He didn't even hesitate. He grabbed the biggest work he could find and ended his torment, once and for all. After an eternity of being a slave, that weight, both literal and figurative, was finally gone. He was free. So you see, when you look back, Sinbad's incredible wealth wasn't something he just stumbled upon in a treasure chest. It was earned. It was forged in terrifying valleys of snakes. It was won by escaping mythological beasts, and it was secured by outsmarting monstrous captors. Every single adventure was a brush with death, and every time he survived, it added to his riches and his legend. And that really brings us to the big question of his whole life, doesn't it? Yeah, he returned to Baghdad a man of unimaginable wealth. But he also carried with him the memories of unimaginable horror. It really makes you wonder, if you were faced with the same choices, would you take that risk? What price would you be willing to pay for a life of adventure?